अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी राग ते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So welcome to the second session of this Lakshan Dharma. So today everyone celebrated supreme forgiveness, and there were some good interesting questions, practical questions in the end, and that's why the class went on for 1.5 hours. But those were very good questions, and we are going to touch those questions again when we do Shamavani. After 10 Lakshans are over, we do Shamavani on the last day. So I think our Das Lakshan gets over on Thursday, 28th. So 27th will be the last class, and then again we will connect with Shamavani next Tuesday. Okay. So in our regular class, Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll touch about that. There will be more practicals on that, and I will also think of other practicals regarding all the 10 dharmas, so one class will be full of practical. So today we are going to discuss supreme modesty, Uttam Mardav. Okay, so modesty, Mardav means komalta. Okay, the softness of the mind or the soul. Mardav it is also called Mardav, humbleness. Modesty is humbleness. It is also Namrata or Vinay. So modesty, just like anger, just like forgiveness, modesty is also a quality of the soul. Modesty is also the distinct. Anybody can share, I can make you co-host. The textbook, anybody can share the textbook?
I'll share it.
Okay, so I'll make you the co-host. So let's read the definition by them. She'll be sharing the PDFs just now. Modesty is also the distinct nature of the soul, like forbearance. Sama Swabhavi Atma, so similarly, Mardav Swabhavi Atma. It is the inherent nature, it is the quality of the soul. The state of tranquility is Shanti, which is produced in the soul. 1 minute. The state of tranquility which is produced in the soul in the absence of pride. And by taking the shelter of the prideless nature of the self, soul, is called modesty. Okay. The state of tranquility. Everybody wants to experience tranquility. Everybody wants to experience happiness. Everybody wants to experience eternal bliss. Everybody wants to experience serenity. Now, all these are qualities of the soul, and this only gets manifested in the modification only when we take shelter. When we take shelter in the prideless nature of our soul. Okay, and that is called modesty. So this state of tranquility which is produced in the soul in the absence of pride. So when this tranquility is manifested, there is always an absence of pride. And by taking the shelter of the prideless nature of the self, that is soul, is called modesty. Although modesty is the natural character of the soul, yet the modification of the passion of pride, which is devoid of modesty, is existing in it from beginningless time. So this pride is there from beginningless time, means pride is eternal. Okay, it has no beginning. It is also from time immortal. Similarly, soul also exists from time immortal. Okay. In spite of being a natural character of the soul, in spite of being a quality of the soul, because of this modification of this pride, it has not been able to manifest. Okay. So that is the whole tragedy. Our soul is full of eternal bliss. It is full of happiness. It is full of tranquility. It is full of serenity. All the good qualities are there in our soul. But if we are not able to manifest it in our modification, then what is use? If we are not able to experience happiness, then what is the use of having this as a quality? So our utmost effort would be how we can manifest this modesty and other qualities in our modification. And that is why we are studying the scriptures. Mrudu bhavo mardavam. Modesty or humility is the name of tenderness, meekness. Tenderness means komalta. Owing to pride, passion, the modesty existing in the nature of the self, okay, gets nullified, and a sort of stubbornness is developed in it. Akkad. Stubbornness is akkad हो जाती है ना? तो जहां मान कशाई होती है वहां अक्कड़ हो जाती है. So the modesty existing in the nature of the soul is not manifested because of this passion of pride. Okay, and because of pride, a feeling of stubbornness is developed in the manifestation. Due to arrogance, ghamandi, resulting from pride passion, man thinks himself to be too high and others too low. So this is the root cause of manifestation of pride. What is the root cause? That the arrogant man or the haughty man believes himself to be superior than the others, and he believes others to be inferior to him. And that's why the pride passion arises. And because of this pride passion, the modesty is not manifested. So now you understand the whole circle. So we better get rid of these passions, okay? We better get rid of this delusion, and then only we can enjoy the real fruits of our soul's experience, okay? So soul has all the innumerable qualities in him. But if we are not able to experience that, then there is no use. 1 minute. I'll use the earphone. So now it is clear, no? We are not getting disturbed by the sound coming from our society's puja mandal. We are getting the sound, or it is quite okay? So I would like a reply from somebody whether you are still...
we are getting clear sound, Ji.
Okay, okay.
Even without your headphone, everything is clear.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So now we move, this was the first point, okay? So first we will do the marking of all the points so that even if I don't finish on time, you can very well study on your own from the textbook. So this was the first point. The modesty is also the distinct nature of the soul. Now, the second point is the last line of this page. The great Pandit Todar Malli has illustrated the behavior of a proud person thus. So this is the second point. Then the third point is anger versus pride. Third paragraph, the second paragraph, amongst passion, pride finds the second place. So that is the third point, and this under this third point, there are 8 sub-points. Okay. The first of the 8 point is the next paragraph. For example, then the next paragraph, the enemies criticize. That is the second point. Then in the next page, unfavorable circumstances. That is the third point of the 8 points. Okay. Then next page. Sorry. In the same page, unfavorable, again you come back. Failure is the mother of anger. That is the 4th point. Okay. Then next page. Although pride is the 5th of the 8 points, then next paragraph, angry person is the 6th point. Then the last paragraph, the angry person wants separation. That is the 7th point. And the next page, the nature of pride, 4th line, 5th line. The nature of pride is not asking of others to run away. That is the 8th of 8 points. These all 8 were anger versus pride. This is the discussion was anger versus pride, which is the 3rd main point. Now we move on to the 4th main point, that is this one. pride has many aspects. Okay, so we will be discussing about inferior complex in this. Then the next, this one, pride is generated under the shelter of 8 things. Okay, so these are 8 mud or 8 types of pride. That is the 5th point. Then the next page, from an outward look, this is the 6th point. Then the next page, next page, next page. Why should one measure? That is the 7th point. Then the next page, stubbornness. That is the 8th point. Then after one, leave one page. The 9th point, the root cause of intense pride. Then 10th point, page number 38. It begins from here. You will say, Pandit Ji, this is all about self-esteem. So this is the 10th point. Then the next page, the king Ravana. That is the 11th point. Then one may argue, same page, one may argue is the 12th point. Then move on to page 42. Yeah. So now the important question is the 13th point, 13th and the last point. So you see, it's a long essay and it will take some time for you to read also, but it is very interesting. And at the end of the day, we want to get rid of our pride, because it is because of this pride we are not able to enjoy the tranquility of our soul. One minute, I am getting disturbed. You are not getting disturbed, but I am getting disturbed. So I'll just move on to the other room. And I think there will be little disturbance from there. Just give me a minute.
Jai Chinendra, is audio okay? I'm not able to hear. Can any of you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, huh? So we have done the marking. Now we will be discussing it one by one. So we were on to the second point. The great Pandit Todarmalji has illustrated the behavior of proud person thus. If a man is page 28, we are not able to, yeah, okay. If a man is overpowered by pride, passion, he wants to humiliate others and exalt himself, and for this purpose plans many schemes. He censors means criticize. He criticizes others and extols himself. Extols means praise, and praises himself and pulls down the image of others. Image is prestige. Through various ways and means, and wants his prestige to be very high. So again, here we are seeing that the basic cause is that he wants to show himself as superior and other people as inferior. A lot of wealth that he might have collected with a great difficulty, he spends in marriages, etc., and even take loans for the same. So this is the show business, and that is going on now. People, in practically, you will see that people who does not have the capacity, and particularly in a function like marriage, they overspend. They want to maintain their status, even if they are not that safe or wealthy, but still they would show off, and for that they will take loans also, and because of that he is always under pressure to make those payments and adjustments and everything. So the major part of his time which he when he indulges in business, it goes after, just because he has spent over his capacity. So now to make both ends meet, he has to struggle, So that struggle is always there, and in in that sense, he loses those opportunities in business because his mind is always in arranging the funds for the repayment. So he could have done it very simply according to his capacity. Okay. In previous days, it is to be like that. People used to have 100 rupees and they used to do business with 25 rupees. 25 rupees, they used to keep it in gold. ₹25 for emergency need, and then 25 rupees they used to spend on donations and all things. But nowadays, people have 25 rupees and they are doing business worth 100 rupees. So any of the adjustments getting faltered, he is in a fix. So just because of one pride, one passion of pride, he is suffering so much. And it is not about this example, but by and large, in the whole human community, if you see, pride takes the prominent position. Okay. Srimad Rajchandra ji has said that मान नहीं होता तो अभी मोक्ष होता. If there wouldn't have been pride, then people would have got liberated now itself. Okay. Why? Because pride is the root cause behind all types of other passions. Whatever a dispute is there between people, if you go into the depth of the cause, then you will find that it is only the pride which is making so much of anger and other passions. So the main passion is the pride. So because of pride, people always tries to show off, and because of that, they suffer a lot. A lot of wealth that he might have collected with great difficulty, he spends in marriages and even takes loans for the same. Under the delusion that his name, fame, will remain even after death. He is ready to lose his life for the sake of self-esteem. So at the cost of his life, he wants to satisfy that passion of pride. If someone does not pay respect, he tries to earn respect even by giving threats and creating troubles for others. Moreover, under the pressure of pride, he does not pay respect to honorable and elderly person also, and becomes thoughtless. So when this passion of anger or pride rises, the person becomes thoughtless. He is not able to judge what is good for him and what is not good for him, what is right and what is wrong. Just with the influence of this passion called pride. If he does not find others in let down position and himself in a higher one, he inwardly feels very miserable, cuts the part of his body, and even dies by taking poison. So if his pride is not satisfied, right, if he is not able to fulfill his wish, which is arise because of the pride, he is even ready to die by suicide or something like that. Recently, you have seen there were a couple of film stars who died by suicide. Sushant Singh Rajput was one of them. And if you analyze this, again, there was this element of pride involved there. He was losing all the good contracts from film producers, and that made him depressed. And in depression, he indulged in drugs, and subsequently that feeling of taking his life was coming time and again, and ultimately he did that. So he had so much of wealth with him, but still this feeling of pride, because of this feeling of pride, he ended his life, by suicide. Such things happen when one is overpowered by pride. So now you see how dangerous this pride is. Now, the next point is, what is
Sir, we cannot hear you, sir.
cannot recent now, or it was
Oh, I can hear you, sir.
You can hear me. Okay. So you increase the volume of yours.
Okay.
Okay. So now the third point, we are coming on to the third point, page number 28. Anger versus pride. So there are 8 points given in them. I have done the marking, but I am not going to read them from the textbook, but I will just tell you in short. The first point of the 8 point is that, so we have made 2 columns. One is anger and one is pride. Okay. Now we are seeing the distinction between anger and pride. So when exposed to the hot air of censor means ninda means criticism, they get affected by the sunstroke of anger. Okay. So when you experience criticism, then you experience anger. And when you are exposed to the cold air of praise, okay, somebody praises you, they are down with the cough and cold of pride. Okay. The second point, the anger happens because of some enemy being the instrumental cause. But pride rises only due to the instrumental cause of friend, not the enemy. Okay. So this is again a difference between anger and pride. The third one, in terms of adversities, growth arises. But during favorable situations, pride rises. Fourth one, when people are unsuccessful, it gives rise to anger. And when people are successful, then pride takes up. Fifth one, whenever we have this anger on somebody, we try to destroy them. Okay. But in case of pride, whenever a passion of pride arises, we don't want to destroy that one. We want to keep it. Because if it is there, then my what I would say, my longing for pride will happen. So we never destroy our followers or the one who is instrumental in rising of pride. The sixth point, the angry people does not accept the existence of enemies. Okay, but people with having a pride passion, they want the crowds. So they want people to sit in the downstairs and listen to his speech or whatever it may be. The seventh point, the angry person wants dissociation of the possessions. But people with pride wants possessions. The last one, the nature of anger is to turn off people, but the nature of pride is not to turn off people, but on the contrary, make people stay. So these are some of the differences between pride and anger. And praise or the pride is more dangerous than criticism. Now we come to the fourth point. So these 8 points are over. Now the fourth point is, so anger is the number 1 passion and pride is the number 2, that we just now proved with the difference between the two. Now coming on to the fourth point, pride has many aspects. Page number 31, third paragraph. Pride has many aspects. Some of its aspects are sure, which many persons do not treat to be the types of pride. The example given here is inferiority complex. Inferiority complex is one of such types of pride which people don't want to include in pride. But nevertheless, it is a form of pride only. How it is a form of pride, that we are just that we'll see in the next paragraph. Their hearts don't allow them to call a forlorn, that means depressed, miserable fellow, to be a haughty person. Haughty person means a person with a pride. They maintain rest is rest. How can he be haughty? So they feel that a person who is depressed will always be depressed. So how can he have pride? So now you understand the logic why the inferiority complex or the depressed state is a kind of pride only. The logic is given in the next paragraph. If pride is the name of the absence of the religion of modesty, and modesty religion is the name of the absence of pride passion, then means if they both are opposites, then wretchedness will have to be treated as pride. because if not treated as pride, then in the absence of pride, wretchedness would become modesty. Okay. So pride as well as the inferiority complex, both are included in the pride itself. Okay. They are not opposites, but they are in the same category, and both are included in the pride. And absence of pride is modesty, supreme modesty, and it is the religion. So this was the logic. Next point is there are 8 kinds of prides.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
So
Want
can
to
you
ask?
explain that? Can you please explain that again? So
So
that wretchedness
one
and
minute.
that
You take down the page number 31 and
Okay, sir.
you read once more, okay, after the class. And if you are not still able to understand, just message me on my personal chat and I will be explaining you tomorrow morning. Okay.
Okay.
Now we are discussing about the 8 types of pride. What are these 8 types of pride? This you will also study in Chedala, and basically this is the quality of a right believer, that they don't have these 8 types of pride. Now what are these things? The totally prideless omniscients have described pride as the intoxication of self in respect of 8 things. Okay. Learning means gyan ka mad, gyan ka ghamand. I'm very knowledgeable, you know, like that. Then the next one is learning. Then next one is worship. Okay. The third one is heredity, cool. Fourth one is caste. I am of upper caste, jati. So learning is gyan, worship is puja, heredity is kul, caste is jati, power is bal, strength. Then riddhi is affluence. Then austerity is tap, and the last one is sharir, that is physic. So these are all the types of 8 prides that people do have, most of the people, and you can relate yourself also. What kind of prides do you possess? Okay, whether you are whether you consider yourself to be more knowledgeable, whether you consider yourself to be adorable, whether you consider yourself to be superior because of your heredity, because of your caste, because of your power, because of your affluence, and the austerity, and the last one is the body. Okay. So these are the places where a person develops a feeling of pride. Okay. And because of that, he is not able to enjoy the tranquility of the soul. Now, moving on to the next point, what is the reason for getting this pride? What are the reasons? Okay. So the main reason is that people have delusion, and because of delusion, he is not able to see the things in right perspective. Okay. There is a problem with his perception. So what is the how the delusion is expressed? that people having a delusion develops a feeling of oneness with others, mindness with others, then doers of others, and experiences others. So these are the 4 pillars of delusion: oneness, mindness, doership, and the last one is experience or the enjoyment of those. Okay. So because of this, he feels that he is great because of these positions that he has. Okay. So the main cause of these 8 types of pride is the first one would be delusion, the second will be ignorance, okay, and then there is this reason of oneness with body, oneness with house, oneness with business, oneness with family members, oneness with the post that he has got in his job, the oneness with the degrees that he has got, CA, MBA, everything, you know. So once he does oneness with body, all the others automatically follows. So that is one part. The second part is mindness. So this is mine, this is mine, this body is mine, these possessions are mine, these passions are mine. So in this way, the delusion continues. The third one is, the third cause of delusion is the doership. Okay. Actually, you are an observer of these things, but you feel that you are the doer of these things. So you cannot be doer of anything. As a soul, your limit is up to only knowing and seeing. You cannot go further than that. But because of delusion, this soul believes that he is the doer of all things. All things around him is being happening automatically. Okay, there is no doer of that. But this ignorant soul feels that he is the doer of all these things, and because of that, taking responsibility of doership, the delusion continues, and delusion is not eroded, okay, or the delusion is not destroyed. And the last one is he himself feels to be bhokta. So oneness is ekatva buddhi, mindness is mamatva buddhi, doership is kartutva buddhi, and the fourth is bhaktutva buddhi, or experience of those or the enjoyment of those. So these are the 4 reasons for which soul remains an ignorant one, and because of that, pride rises in him. Now we'll take one example of Ravan. You know why Ravan went to hell? Can anyone guess why Ravan went to hell?
Because of his pride, sir.
Because of his pride. So initially he kidnapped Sita just because he had a lust, he had a soft feeling for her. But he had one principle, that if she does not agrees to submit to me, I will not force her to do that. And he remained faithful to that, his principle, okay? And he never touched Sita. And then he realized that when she is not responding to her different types of you know, acts that he was doing for that purpose, then he gave up and he thought that I will return Sita to Ram. But then the pride rose and he thought that if I return Sita, then they will feel that I am a fearful person, right? So then he thought that I will win over Ram because I am already an expert fighter. So I will easily defeat them. And once I defeat them, then I will return Sita to Ram. That was his inner feeling. But he got killed in the war and he went to hell. And the only reason will be pride. It is not because of kidnapping Sita, okay? But it is because of the feeling of pride that he developed even when his mind and others, because of the other people's advice, he was ready to return Sita to Ram. But because of that pride, he did that war fighting and he ultimately died in that fighting. So you can see that there is another story about Bharat Chakravarti and Bahubali. So Bahubali ji was not able to attain omniscience knowledge because he was having pride in himself, okay? And when Bharat Chakravarti came and bowed to her, then also he didn't do pride in that, but he remained absorbed in his self and he manifested omniscience in himself. So coming on to the last question, rest you will study yourself, page number 42. Now the important question arises as to why does pride arise and how to get rid of it. What is the root cause of its existence and how to bring it to an end? So we already have discussed this, but now again I will just read it through. So long as this mundane soul continues believing in other non-self substance as one's own, till then the intense pride, anantanubandhi man, okay, will continue arising, okay? So the because of delusion, he is believing that other substances are his own, but actually it is not. The next point was, there is an example. A proprietor considers himself to be the owner of that cloth mill. If the mill is lost, the proprietor will not get away from pride, because if it is nationalized, the proprietorship of the mill goes away. But in his heart, the place of pride will be taken by wretchedness. So again, wretchedness is a form of pride. So he is not able to get rid of pride, because the reason is the ownership of that mill, okay? The mindness, because of the mindness with the mill. The third point is, mainly pride is found in him, in those person who identifies himself with other substances. So again, because of delusion, this thing happen, and he is not able to distinguish between the self and the non-self. And because he is not able to distinguish it, the pride rises. The last one is, we have to discard the feeling of identity with other object. So this is also the more or less the same point, that he is considering the other objects and as his mind, and that is the chief cause of his rise of chief cause of the rise of pride in himself. So if we consider ourselves to be equal to all the other souls of this universe, pride will not rise. It is only when we feel that we are superior than the others, the pride rises. Why an enlightened soul does not have pride? Because the enlightened soul knows that this body and the mind and the speech is not his, okay? And because of that, he does not develop a feeling of pride in all these things, because he has a right belief, and he consider soul as soul and the non-soul object as non-soul. He never does oneness, mindness, doership, and experience in other things, okay? And because of that, he never develops a feeling of pride. He never develops a passion of pride in himself. So this is something, pride is something that we should be very careful. And if you study a bit deep about your thoughts going on, you will see that the pride is hidden everywhere. Whatever thoughts you follow, some or the other connection with the pride always comes up. And there you need to practice discriminative knowledge. What is ours. What is not ours is not ours. So this way, by practicing discriminative knowledge, by taking the shelter in the prideless nature of the soul, one can get rid of this pride, and one can manifest supreme modesty. Okay, so this supreme modesty arises in all the souls, not in you and me. And with that feeling, I end today's lecture. Okay, if you have any questions, I can quickly take it up, or you can just post it individually to me. If you have any questions, I will answer you tomorrow morning. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है। 9 बार नौकार मंत्र गिनेंगे।